Good morning, everybody. So sorry it took so long to get back to you on a video. However, I had issues with my Olympus OM10, which is what I planned on doing today. For some reason, the crank, the winder for the film, well, the arm itself moved, but it didn't turn the spool inside to advance the film. So I'm going to have to look at that. But in the meantime, I did get a hold of this. And if you can see this absolute beast, this is the Koni Rapid Omega 100, and this is possibly the biggest rangefinder that I know of. This thing is huge. It weighs almost 4 pounds, and there's a 90mm lens on it. I loaded it with film already, but after I shoot this roll here, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how it's loaded and a couple of the features that are on here. Some are confusing and some are straightforward. But for now, let's just go straight out. I'm here at Fort Indiantown Gap at Memorial Lake. And it's quiet out here, and I like to come out here to test cameras and to shoot a lot because it's pretty scenic. So let's just go over here real quick and we'll take a few shots of this guy. I might have to shed my sweatshirt because it's getting kind of warm out. It's like 63, 65 already. And so yeah, I might have to shed the shirt. So, but for now, let's go over to the bridge and let's take a couple of shots with this big guy. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I shot 10 shots out of here already, and I see a couple of things that I'm really not thrilled about. First of all is the cocking mechanism here, and I'll show that to you in a little bit. It sometimes doesn't go all the way back in, so I'm not sure if that's an issue with this type of camera or this particular camera itself. Another issue, probably the biggest issue that I have so far, is the weight. This thing is an animal. This thing, like I said, it weighs almost 4 pounds, and to hold it in my wrist like this here, as I'm focusing over here on this focus ring here, it's taxing on your wrist. It really is. It does have some, tripod mounts on the bottom, and if I take the handle off here, there's actually 2 more under here if you want to shoot it in portrait mode. Okay, so, but I'm going to go ahead and take this film out, and then I'm going to load it back up so you can see how it gets loaded in there, and which is kind of interesting in itself. And I'll show you a couple of features on the camera itself, okay? All right, let's go get this film out, put some more in. Okay, so first let me apologize. There's a slight breeze out here today, and actually it's kind of significant. But what I plan to do is I plan on putting some fomapan inside this camera. I figured if I'm going to use an old camera, let's get some classic film to put inside of there. As you can see, but that's what I'm going to do there. However, this camera in itself, okay, now, first thing you need to know, before you can take the back off or you can fire this, you have to remove the dark slide. Okay, the dark slide is there. And there is a storage compartment for the dark slide underneath. Underneath the camera, there's a storage compartment for the dark slide. Okay, but in order to remove the back or to fire a shot with this, the dark slide needs to be in there. Okay, now, if we go to the back, let's look and see what we got here. Okay, we have this little window here, which actually you can put a piece of the film in there to keep you a reminder of what you have in here. Okay, but it's a simple knob, so you slide it up. Let's try this again. Okay, for some reason it doesn't slide up. There you go. Okay, so you slide it up, and L or O, lock or unlock. Okay, so we raise this, and you have to bring it to that dot there. It's unlocked. You can simply grab this and pull it off. Now, you can see that I already wound it all the way through, which is wonderful. That's one roll down. Okay, you pull back on this here because it's a little more flexible, and you can slide your film out. I know it should be done in subdued lighting or whatever they want to call it, but I didn't do that. So open this up, That's a finished roll. Now, getting back to the back here. And to load it up. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is to take the empty spool, okay, remove that, and put it on the other side so that it can be wound using the mechanism that we have here. Okay, now I want to show you that right here it displays the 120, so this is a 120 back. They also made a 220 back that went on here to this camera. Now it gets a little finicky because there used to be a button right here. Okay, well that button is no longer here, but there's a slot for that button. That slot, I'm guessing, needs to be in the upward position, because as soon as it goes down in the lower positions there, what happens is the plunger here, I'm going to call it a plunger because I don't know what to call it, so the plunger here doesn't go all the way back in. Now I'm not sure if that'll do anything, but in thinking in common sense, I would think that it will not advance the film far enough for a full frame. But let's see what happens when that comes out, because that did happen to me at around frame 5. So I'm going to put in some Fomapan Classic 100. Okay, it's bright and sunny out here. And another thing I want to note is that nowhere on this camera, you know, and I searched high and low on this camera, I looked online, I checked everywhere that I possibly could. Okay, and there is absolutely nowhere on this camera to indicate what ISO film that I am using. Okay, there is no, you know, speed setting for your film. So it was a little frustrating at first, but I figured, you know what, I'm just going to run 100 speed film, and I'm going to use the Sunny 16 method because there's no meter in this as well. So, and I'm just going to run with the Sunny 16 method. So, which means I will put this camera on 125 shutter speed, and then I will shoot it at 16 when the sun is bright. And I will adjust, I will leave the shutter speeds the same, and I will adjust the aperture according to the light. Okay, so now, and this is an interesting part because this film faces up. Okay, I kind of wish I did have a little bit of shade here. Let me see if I can bring my bag a little closer. How about we do that? Okay, so, and the film is going to face up actually, and so, and there's a small red dot that I will show you momentarily. Let me get my film in there. Okay, the film is in. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it through here. Now, the only thing to keep in mind is this is already set at load position. So because it's at load position, I can't really crank this to get it through. So I'm going to have to use my fingers to turn the spool like this to get it to roll up. Okay, now you want it centered, and it will be centered. Okay, now there is a little dot right there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little red dot right here. Okay, right up here, and that's where I need my start arrow to be at in the beginning. Okay, because you can't see where it's at underneath the paper here. Okay, and we'll keep turning this. Okay, now there's no arrow to say start. Oh, see, that says start 6x9. Never shot Fomapan before, and now we're just going to say start. We're going to say that's it right there, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so that's going to be my start position. Now on the back you can see that in the window it says load. So I'm going to take this and put it in the camera real quick, and I'm going to show you the rest of getting this film in there, okay? I have it in there now, and let me show you real quick on the back as this helicopter passes by. Now, if you can watch that window there as I plunge this, which is what I'm calling it. Don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can. But anyway, right here in this window, it changes to a green dot, a double green dot, and then there's your one. Okay, so now this is ready to go. Okay, this green shows up when it's ready to go. After you take a shot, the green goes away when you pull it out, and it comes back on when it's loaded for the next frame. Okay, so let's go shoot this roll. Hope I can get these developed so you can see what I'm doing out here in the field. And I'm going to go back to my office after I'm finished, and we're going to give a complete look at this camera from top to bottom. Okay, how's that sound? Okay, I wanted to show you this really quick before I separate them. Although I have that issue with the plunger mechanism to advance the film, I have an issue with it not going all the way back in. I kind of now think that it's done by design because of the film, and I say that because if you look, and this is the Acros 100, if you look, it kind of looks like everything is spaced accordingly to the 6x7. So I'm thinking that that is done by design on the film back, and which is a good thing because it just answers another question for me. So that's good. This is what we want. This is Acros 100. I'm getting ready to scan this right now, and I'll put a couple of shots of these up here right now. Okay, so there you go. I hope that's enough information to send out to you guys about this camera. This is as much as I know about it. There's one more feature that I forgot to show you, and I'll show you right here. If you can see this mechanism right here, that is what actually prepares the lens to fire. And if you can see that, so all I can say now is I like this camera a lot. Okay, I think what I don't like about this camera is the weight. But the weight is what makes this camera. Yeah, I think this is a nice solid camera. I don't see what I forgot to tell you, or show you I should say. Now, the dark slide needs to be in the camera, okay? Now, on the front here is a lock for the lens, okay? Now, let me put the lens cap back on this real quick, okay? Now, on the lock, there's an arrow pointing down saying now it's locked, okay? If you pull it up, it's unlocked, and you can simply lift it out. And you can see right there, that's the dark slide. And so this is a hollow body, and the only glass is in the lens, and which is pretty, I like that, pretty simple, basic. But anyway, it goes straight back on, exactly the way it came off. Okay, we got a couple pins to line up. Okay, and you could just set it and just lock it up. Now it's locked on, but I forgot to show you that. I'm glad I showed it to you. I'm glad I remembered it at the end. But yeah, the whole thing, I like it. If I were doing something that I needed complete quality for, I would mount this on a tripod to eliminate, every possibility of a blur. Simply because this here is very loose. So I mean, You slight touch and you can knock it off. It's not tight at all. So the focusing. But overall, great camera. I recommend it. If you can get one on the cheap, which I did, okay, if you can get one on the cheap, get it. Get it. Well, even if you can't, I would recommend getting this. You know, I paid just over $100 for this, you know, and I think it's great. I think it's going to be an absolute workhorse for me. So, yeah, keep shooting out there, guys. I'm going to come, I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump to 19, sorry about that, let me grab this. I'm going to jump to 1986 on my next one. Okay, and this is from the 60s, by the way. I'm going to jump to 1986, and because I picked up this Canon EOS 650, it's from 1986, and I got it for $7 at a thrift shop. $7. I paid $10 for the battery. The battery costs more than the camera. But this is what I'm going to do next. So come back. I'm going to try to do this as soon as possible to get this up there for you. I've been slacking off a lot lately, but I'm coming back. All right. So this is what's next. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, come back for the Canon. Okay. Take care.